project. And what I talk about and teach about is next level empowerment. This is all about how limitless you are. You're absolutely limitless, and you don't know it. And if you're a spiritual person, as I am, then you have a lot of things that you believe in, a lot of things that you say, yep, that's the truth, but you have absolutely no way to actually initiate it in your life. So you hear a lot about manifestation, you hear a lot about you are limitless, like I'm saying. You hear a lot of things that resonate, but you're like, how do I make this an actual thing in my life? How do I harness this power? So I talk about that. But what I want to talk about today is why this is all happening, why this entire shit show is happening in our country. It is happening for a reason. It is happening because we are in an evolutionary period. We are moving into a whole other way of being. We are moving into a time of tremendous feminine inspired empowerment. And when I say that, I am talking about empathy. I'm talking about the kind of politics that I have practiced for my whole life, which is very simple, very basic, and it is, are we taking care of everybody? Are we giving everybody the help they need to move forward? Are we being empathetic? Are we being compassionate? Are we providing? Are we thinking deeper than, one person's pocket? That's the kind of world and country that I want to live in. And what happens every 80 years, it is theorized, and it seems to bear out if you do the math. Every 80 years, our society goes through a tremendous transformation. We're in the 80 years. So it goes every 20 years, there's sort of like like you're shifting. If you've ever driven a car with a stick shift, you go from first gear and then you have to put your foot onto the shift and you go into second gear and you take your foot off of that and then you put your foot down, you go into third. Every 20 years we go through that kind of situation. And then in the last 20 years, at the end of it, at the 80-year mark, something major crumbles and just falls the hell apart. And that's what we're seeing. That's what's happening right now. If you don't have that perspective, if you don't have that view, and all you see is the news, and all you see is the bullshit that's happening in the insider trading, the lying, the removing of all of the things that we depend on, all the things I depend on. I'm not exempt from this. Nobody is eventually going to be exempt from this. Everybody will feel some level of discomfort, and as is usual, it's the people at the bottom of the pile who feel the most pain. So we have to come together in community and help each other. That is the only way. And fortunately, we've done it before, we humans. And it's actually a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's such a marvelous thing to learn to become emotionally available to each other and helpful. But to get back to why this is happening, this 80-year cycle, one of the 80-year cycles was the Civil War. Another 80-year cycle was the 40s with World War II. This is another 80-year cycle. This is the biggest one yet. When you are able to look at the spiritual, or if you don't like calling it spiritual, you can call it energetic, energy driven, vibrational. There is a huge upshift vibrationally. You've probably noticed things are happening super, super quickly, really freaking quickly. And that's not just because of evil and people who are so completely effed up that they find their security in basically killing other people, putting them through the ringer. It's happening because we are in a transformation. We're in the blender. If you like a different sort of image, because blender's a little bit violent, right? Let's think about the butterfly. I don't know if you know this one, but a lot of people in spiritual circles do, which is that when the caterpillar climbs up a tree and then creates a cocoon, climbs in there and just is there waiting to become a butterfly, what happens in that period of waiting, during that period of waiting, is that they completely dissolve into goo. It's not like they stay a caterpillar and suddenly they grow some wings and, hey, I'm pretty now. No, they completely dissolve. There is no spine. There is no nothing. Blah, like that. And there is an innate intelligence within that, the system of that being that then reforms as a butterfly, right? And that is exactly what is happening to us. We are going from a system that supported us, but only as far as being able to grub for worms on the floor. Like the people who had the money just got more money, and the people who didn't have money, well, we just hung on and we fought each other. I mean, it's not a system that really ever worked. Let's be honest. So there were parts of it that were put in place, right, to help us. Medicaid, Obamacare, thank God. These are things that help us. This assumption that everybody who's getting help from the system, as it has been, is lazy is complete and utter bullshit. It's been proven time and time again. People don't want to be in despair and rescued. People want to have lives of fulfillment and self-actualization. That's what we really want. And the help is useful, especially for those who have not given into a sense of hopelessness and can say, you know what, I'm going to use this help to rise. But we've had a society that doesn't reflect that kind of thinking. And for those of us, and I'm one, who have fallen to the bottom and then said, screw this, I'm rising somehow. And I'm going to find the other ways that are outside of the system, which is what next level empowerment is really about. Those people start to find within the goo, which is just increasing, right? We see it now, we feel it now. Find the constructive pieces, the constructive elements that allow us to become next level people, where we are both human and vibrational, human and co-creative, human and spiritual. They're not separate. Those are the two parts of us. And actually, if you want to go deeper, the human is actually encased within the spiritual. That's the reality. So this whole setup that we have of thinking that spirituality is something that we have to sort of go get it's exactly like the high spiritual beings talk about it, which is when they say we're like the fish in the ocean begging for water. That's literally us. Literally us. So here we are in this time of goo. And it's just going to become gooier. And it has to become gooier. And we did choose to be here. It's not a pleasant idea, but it's truth. Because we wanted to be part of the reformation. We wanted to be part of creating what comes next. Now, people like me from a certain generation, and those of us from that generation who were raised to think outside the box, to be more liberal in how we look at things, to be more empathetic, to not be as frightened of other people. We ended up becoming the people who hold that part of the goo experience where we go, there is the ability for compassion and empathy and a bigger view and a more spiritual way of looking at things. We're not the only ones who hold this kind of bridging, but I'm saying that this is part of my work, is to be part of this bridge that goes, don't despair. This elemental reality that can be lived, that has been lived, and that can be brought forward in a new and fantastic way is a real deal. It's the real deal. Okay? Sorry about the lighting. It's the sun's going down and it's just the place I live. This time that we're living in is preparing us. It is awakening us. It is awakening us to how effed up everything has been for a very long time and how it goes to the worst if we do nothing, if we say nothing, if we just stay trying to become comfortable. I've always looked, not always, but for the last like 5 years or so, I've had this image, this teaching that I have held and haven't taught a lot yet about how in the system, the way it has been, we are all underwater. The system is made for a few choice people, white, male, moneyed. Okay. And whoever happens to be married to them or sleeping with them or whatever. Okay. And then the rest of us are below the waterline. So the waterline is here and the favored few are up here. And so here's the waterline. We're way down here. Okay. We're way down here. And we think our expectations have been so lowered that we think if I can just come up to the waterline where I can put my nose above the water and breathe, I win. So in other words, if I can just find the job that pays me enough where I can go to wherever, name a place, Disneyland, Florida, California, San Francisco, name a place where I can go and vacation once a year, I'm living a good life. You're living a sustained life. And I'm not saying you shouldn't go on vacations, and I'm not saying that this is not something that we should be looking for, because this is what we have come to learn that's the best we can expect. That if we have the right job that we can then invest in the 401ks, which of course now are a freaking nightmare. Thank you so much. And that we can survive our lives in a way, right? So here we are going, if I can just bring my nose right above here, I'll be good. This will be a good life. Now I've objected to that, and it has taken me to some crazy ass places. It's taken me to being completely broke, homeless, and coming back from that. It has taken me to a crazy career in all different kinds of ways that I've looked to be my authentic self in a system that does not want us to be authentic. And so I've paid a lot of prices for that. I believe that as we move into this new period, which is not a period of destruction without end, it is a period of needing to break down so completely what is that we can't go back. It's like you've taken off. Thank you, Spirit. It's like we've taken off in a ship from a place that was burning, but we weren't sure we couldn't go back. We're like, well, but maybe it'll go out. Maybe we'll just be able to put the buildings back together. So we're just going to go out into the middle of the ocean, and we'll leave a few people back there to try to fix it. It'll be great. It'll be okay. They'll fix it and then we'll come back. Except while we're out here, instead of fixing it, they burn the rest of it to the ground. And we're like, we have to find another place to go that has because they kill all of the plants and they kill the animals and it's like that. You go, well, crap, I have to find a new place. And so you set out on a journey to recreate your journey, and you set out on a journey to find the place where you can create for the first time a way of living where things are they're not only not burnable, but they're created for all of us. We the People was written about white landowners. That's who the we was. It wasn't women and it wasn't people of color. It was white landowners. So there weren't that many we the people. Well, I keep hearing it said from people who are out on YouTube talking about what's coming, that we are going to rewrite the Constitution and we are going to do a whole different way of empowering ourselves and empowering our country and empowering our lives. Now, this is going to take some time. It's going to take some time. So what we have to do in the meantime is we have to create community. I find it very calming, very soothing to realize that there's a reason why this is happening. I really hope that this helps you too. Your empowerment as a human, which you may not be keyed into, is actually vibrational. If you want to go all the way to the core of your power, it's vibrational. You want to change the situations around you? Okay, think of it this way. You know that you can't go to Washington and grab people by the ear and go, stop this, right? So literally you cannot do that. It's not going to help. Even if you tried, it wouldn't do anything, right? So you're like, well, how can I change stuff? I asked this question repeatedly over and over and over for years, and I found my answer. I found the answer is vibrational. So you remember, now I'm not a biblical scholar or anything. I'm not Christian, but there is some quote in the Bible that says something about aligning with the spirit, aligning with the divine, and 1,000 will fall at your left and 1,000 will fall at your right, something like that. And what that is referring to in my context is that you are so aligned with your joy, with your higher beliefs, with your calmness, with your true self, which I know these are kind of buzzwords, and I'll explain as much as I can in a minute, but that you are so aligned with knowing that you are one with spirit. You are one with that divine energy. This is what you are literally, physically, emotionally, mentally created of. You are so aligned with that knowing that even when crap rains down, it either doesn't hit you or it doesn't hit you in the same way. You have a different way of responding. I'll give you an example. Right now, we're going through scary, scary times. And I'm finding myself not living in fear. Now, I'm somebody who struggled for almost 40 years with anxiety and clinical depression. So I'm going to tell you that even though I don't have that now, and that's because of vibrational work that I did, consciousness work that I did, shifting, applying the spiritual and the vibrational in ways that I could literally experience, because experience is where the spiritual meets the human road. When we experience something is when we transform, right? Like I was watching this amazing woman, Buddha Betty, she calls herself, on Next Level Soul podcast. And she went from being a heroin addict, a prostitute, a thief, messed up, to having this experience of herself as so much more than that. You should go watch it. Go look for Buddha Betty on Next Level Soul podcast. You will absolutely love. She's a fantastic storyteller. Amazing young woman. She's in her mid-30s. She's incredible. And she's not, she doesn't sling any bull either about you must believe in anything. But she knows what it is to suffer, and she knows who she is, and she knows how to stay in the becoming of the butterfly. She knows how to do that. So do I. It doesn't mean that you let go of the lessons of being human until such a time as your consciousness opens so much that you see that there's nothing there to really, that there's nothing that you've been dealing with is actually real. This is what a lot of spiritual people talk about. It's not real. And you go, well, this feels real, you know? And there's a point, there's a consciousness place at which you no longer are connected to it. You're no longer impacted by it. I'm not there, but I've had moments. I've had moments of that realization, and it's like, oh, it's like suddenly fresh air, and then, you know, it goes away. It's like, oh, crap, wish I could live there, and presumably we can. But that's not, living there is, it's not necessarily what we came to do. I think we came here to be on the journey and to experience the new and to experience growth and to experience what it is we came here to experience. But it is all about experience. How many times can she say experience in 1 minute? I think it was 6. Anyway, we're in this period of blob, of becoming the blob. And what we're going to rediscover, I think, and I say rediscover in this case because once upon a time, community was everything. We have to do it again. And I've created one that you can find on Facebook. It's called the Grassroots Solutions Community, where we're going to help each other with knowledge that we don't all share, so that we can help each other get through the blob phase and create what's coming. This is what we have to be doing. When you know that there's a purpose for something, it really helps with the fear. It gives you a sense of what true north looks like. It does me. And I didn't grow up believing in God, but I feared God. I was like, shoot, if I don't do the right things, I'm going to get punished. Then I didn't believe in anything, and I felt like nobody was there to catch me. And then I met my spiritual teacher and mother, Moxie, and that convinced me that there is spirit, there is divinity. That was a big shift for me. Then I went on a long journey to see, what does it all mean? Like, how, if God is in my life, how do I make use of that? How does that make any sense? How do I make it experiential? We are energetic beings. It's kind of like the Matrix. Like, we really are electric. We are vibrational beings. We are energy beings. And the way that we can access that is through our emotion. And because we're moving into bringing the feminine into our real life instead of just constantly shaming the crap out of it and keeping it out, is understanding that emotion is our superpower. It is our freaking superpower. When you understand some basic tenets about emotion, when you see 8% of our world get this, you are going to see overnight change. That's why it's only going to take maybe 5 or 10 years. It's not going to take the rest of your life unless you're like 80 or 90 or 110, whatever. If you're going to die in 5 to 10 years, well, I can't help you. But you'll probably be helping from the other side, right? Is that too flippant? I'm sorry. That hurts anybody's feelings. But none of us knows when we're going. And I think having a real purpose in life while we're here creates joy and fulfillment and meaning and love and a sense of ground under our feet. Understand that there's more than just our flesh on this planet, far more. Our flesh is the least of what's on this planet. Our bones, our blood, our organs, it's far less of what there is on this planet. These are just our spacesuits. But what there really is energy. Consider the fact that you are sitting surrounded by what seems to be nothingness, air. But it's actually full of, it's actually Play-Doh. We can co-create. And as this all falls apart, that's what we're going to be doing as it falls apart, not waiting until it does, starting now. Starting now. That's why I put together the Grassroots Solutions community for free. Okay? We need to help each other. It's on Facebook. Go find it. Grassroots Solutions community. Go find it. Join. I'll let you in. It's private. We can help each other with information, with support. We're going to be meeting on Zoom at least once a month. We're going to be helping each other move through this time into the new birthing of the new way. Because that is the reason this is all happening. It is the 80-year cycle proving itself yet again. Every 80 years, something goes crash. And this is the big one. And we are damned and blessed both to be here. It's tough for our physical selves, it's tough for our emotional selves, it's tough for our human selves, and it is the opportunity of lifetimes to be able to bring all that we know of compassion, empathy, intuition, ethics, qualities we want to live, to bring that forward, to birth it in new ways that actually work. What a concept. What a concept. We need to do it together, and we need it to not just be something we leave in the hands of a few politicians. We need their help because this country is huge. And who knows? Who knows if we will stay the United States? I hope so. But what I hope more than that is for heart. I hope for the feminine. And I know that that's what's already been happening. It's already been happening. It's why we're having this breakdown. The old ways of being, the we the people that was penned hundreds of years ago, was penned for white land owners, white male landowners. We need a different, and we're moving into a different definition of who we are as a collective, as a human collective, and as a collective in this space called the United States. Now we're taking everybody else with us because this is a planetary evolution. Is it pretty? Hell no. Do we have to love it? Hell no. Do we have to go and demonstrate? Hell yes. Do we have to stand up against bull? Yes. Is there any freaking question about that? There's no excuse not to. I'm sorry. For my part, there's no excuse for sitting at home if you can get your ass up. If I met a 92-year-old woman in a wheelchair at the Women's March a few years back with a sign that said, I can't believe I have to fucking do this again. If she can get her ass out, you can. And there's another nationwide march happening a week from this Saturday. So be there. Wherever it is that you go, be there. So on the human side, we have to do what is our responsibility to do, what we feel called to do, to say no to things that hurt us and other people. We're all in the same boat together. If you are going to burn, if you're going to set fire to one half of the boat and think you're safe sitting in the other half of the boat, you're just stupid. You're just not seeing clearly. You're just frightened. And you're going, I'm going to just keep myself over here and pretend that's not going to touch me. Wake up. We have to go get a new boat and create it together. And we have to help each other. For those who can't swim, we have to help each other swim. I learned how to swim as a kid. Not everybody did. I've gone through homelessness, so I learned how to live on a frickin' dime. Not everybody has that awareness or that experience. There's going to be a lot of fear. It's reasonable to feel afraid. I mean, that's reasonable. I can, however, tell you that with the help of each other and with other things that I can teach, and I am going to be figuring out ways to bring out to people more and more, we can shift our vibrational state so that what is already here in this Play-Doh that we call reality, this seemingly empty space, which is full of atoms, full of vibrational reality, full of sound waves, and I mean, this is what is meant by co-creation, you guys. That's what co-creation. You say, oh, how the hell do I co-create? How do I manifest money? How do I manifest a partner? It's not about force. It's about alignment. It's about allowing and alignment. And what we have as what we've been programmed to believe is that we don't have any power. We've been programmed to believe that we're only human. Not true. Not true. We are focused into this experience, which in some way that I don't personally experience, but I understand. We are focused into this, and so here is our body. Here's the body. We keep the body together. If you've seen anybody who has passed away after they've passed, you will notice such a big difference in your perception of their remains when that spark, when that energy has removed itself. It's an amazing thing. So as we move forward and we're afraid, there are ways. I've done them. I do them. I work with this. It's what brought me out of homelessness. It's what brought me out of being penniless. It's what brought me into becoming somebody who's no longer in clinical depression and massive anxiety every day and every minute of my life. As we learn to do this, we can shift our reality. We can do it together, and we can make shifts so fast that it'll be the positive of the negative that's going on now. And anything positive simply means something that is just a slight bit better, higher, lighter than the place you are currently vibrating at. It doesn't mean Pollyanna. It doesn't mean I'm going to be happy every single moment and be like, oh, everything's great. It doesn't mean any of that stuff. It just means that 1% slightly higher than whatever place you are currently at. It's why meditation works for many, because they can let go of all the worry and all the stinking thinking, and just let themselves. And it's sort of like it's exactly like if you pour wine into a glass and it's got all that silt and stuff in it, and it just sort of settles to the bottom, and then you've got the clear wine. So that's what meditation does for a lot of people. Not everybody resonates with meditation, but that, just using that as an example of something that can be used to understand how your energy, when you align with when you align, and you align deliberately and intentionally with with concepts that are not the toxic masculine we've been raised with. It's not about pushing. It's not about forcing. It's not about, I'm going to make this happen. It's not. It's about letting that silt settle. It's about allowing yourself to come into a place of greater kindness to you, taking your foot off of the gas, easing it off. You're not going to just go, and take your foot off and you're done. It's not that. The other feminine part of this is that it's a process. This is one of the ones that I work with for myself these days, because I want to help. I have such a desire to help. I have such a desire to do something that, I have impatience. And so I'm like, I've got to do something now. I got to go now. I got to make it happen now. And then I get frustrated because I'm not as far with my business as I want to be. And I don't have as clear a view of what I want to be offering. And I get all out of frame. That vibration is just like, it's like jangly and sharp edges. And that's not going to resonate and create the kind of experience I want to have personally as a human, as a woman on this planet. That's number one. Number two, it's not going to bring me into alignment with the kind of offering that I'm offering, which is, let's walk this new path together. Let's let go of living the responses, the responses and the reactions that we've been taught, which is to self-protect, to be, I can't think of the word, but like we get real attacking when we think somebody is attacking us, even if they're not. We get defensive. That's the word. We get very defensive. We have to learn to give some oxygen in conversations, because we have to learn some things that I've learned through many years of, I went through 11 years of therapy and group therapy in my 30s and up to my mid 40s. I've gone through so many types of personal growth, personal development. And so my wish is just to share what I've learned so that others can learn and give themselves the oxygen as well, so that we can move through this period elegantly and learning just how beautiful it is to be able to connect, to be able to help and to be helped, to thaw from the toxic masculine approaches that have been in place, because it's just one wing of the bird. When you don't have one wing, the other wing being the feminine, when you just have one wing, that wing is going to grow toxic. It doesn't have a choice. There's no balance. There's just no balance. So we're moving into the reaction. We're not moving into, we're in the reaction of the toxic masculine to its control bullshit being challenged. It doesn't like being challenged, and you can see it in corporations where, I have the kind of energy and the kind of personality where I can piss off the CEO of a company just by walking in their office. Seriously. Because I don't have the energy of kowtow. I don't have the energy of, oh, I'm just, hi, I know you're important. You're not important. You're no more important than anybody else. You have a responsibility that's higher than everybody else's, but you're not more important. And they don't like to feel that. They don't like feeling that. I understand. But this has been my intention throughout my life, is to be as much authentic me as I possibly can be in this life. Because otherwise, what the hell am I here for? That's been my sort of guiding light. And I've bumbled around the place, and I've suffered the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, and I've put myself in stupid situations, and then chosen to learn, and take the beauty from them and use them as jumping off points to um, to become a more authentic person and a more deeply spiritual, empowered woman and human and spiritual being, having a human experience and all of that. I think that's a life well spent. Would I like to have a whole lot more money and massive speaking engagements and teaching and helping people really wake up? Yep, and that's what I'm going to do. Because the fact is that we can create our reality, but we do have to do it in ways that we're not accustomed. We have to look for the answers that we haven't found, or we found them and we go, I don't know how to apply it. And then we have to use our curiosity, and we have to start going, I'm going to figure out how to apply this. I'm going to figure out how this works for me. And I'm not going to settle for standard answers. I'm going to question the things that I say that I believe. Because we run around all the time saying, yes, I believe that, like, here's one that a lot of people will say. God is omnipresent. That's what people will say. God is omnipresent. But then the way they live their lives is, I'm not worthy. Well, if God is omnipresent, that means God's right here. How could you not be worthy? You are, in fact, worthiness yourself. So that's what I mean by questioning. You've got to question the things you say you believe and the ways that you live, and find yourself in curiosity. Find yourself in that, how can these two coexist? And maybe the fact is that I have that belief does not really stand up to scrutiny. So let me get curious about the one of those two beliefs that strengthens me. Which of those two beliefs brings me into a sense of, oh my gosh, the way I feel is important, because I know that when I feel strengthened, I have more ability to create better opportunities for myself, better relationships. My health gets better, my quality of life gets better. That's how important your emotional state of being is. That when you feel better, you are better, you get better, you do better. You physically feel better. You get more creative. Your mind literally opens to intuitive hits, inspiration. Because spirit has the feminine. It's trying to deliver the feminine. It's trying to deliver intuition, inspiration, empathy, creativity. And the fierce feminine is like, don't F with my community. Don't F with my family. Don't F with my friends. I only am being polite because I don't want to get banned from YouTube or wherever else I am, Come on a workshop with me, it's a whole different thing. Just forewarned is forearmed. We really have all the power we need. And what we need to understand is what it is and how to use it, how to apply it, how to get to the experiential plane. Because when we get to experiencing our power, experiencing our literal ability to shift. God, this light is intense, isn't it? To shift where we are. Oh, that just went crazy. To shift our health, to shift our emotional state of being, to shift our our external situations, suddenly get a great job or something. Sorry about the camera. And then realizing that when we literally go, oh my God, I am that power. It's suddenly the game that changes is you go, I'm a part of this reality. Like I'm a part of what can change everything. Meaning you don't get that idea of like, I am God and I'm going to make everybody do what I want. No, that's what we're coming out of. Painfully, but we are coming to the dissolution so we can create the new, right? That's what's happening. It sucks, but that's what we're doing. This is what needs to happen. If you want the new, you have to have the destruction of the old. And that's why we need to start building community now so we can not only get through this, but build, starting now, what the new is going to look like in small communities, in slightly bigger communities, in huge communities. We the people doesn't mean we're going to all run for office. The new we the people, not the white male landowner from 1700, whatever. The new we the people is us being so deeply involved and alive with each other, having lives of such fulfillment and meaning and empowerment and joy and learning this, stepping into this. We've gone as far as we can go with being separate. We've gone as far as we can go. What we're living through is exactly the proof that you need. Let me plug my computer in here real quickly. I don't know how that fell out, but it did. That's what we're coming into. And start now. We have to start now. So know that there's a purpose for this. This is very important. Know that there's a purpose. It is a human spiritual purpose. We are in an evolutionary process, and that does tend to require revolution, internal and external. We're going to have to rethink, understand for the first time our true power, our true vibrational, emotional, co-creative power. So that's it for today. Do go over to Facebook, join the Grassroots Solutions community, and get interactive. I will, within the next couple of weeks, I'll be having the first Zoom meeting where we can meet each other, decide, suss each other out, decide who you want to chat with, what's the stuff you need help with. Do you need to know where to go to get, affordable medications? Do you need to know where to go to, or how to grow plants in your apartment? Do you need to know, what to do for your sick animal and you got no money to help your sick animal? Somebody sent me the most amazing place. There's a place on Facebook. I've shared it in that group that I've just told you about, where veterinarians come in and for free just give you advice about your pets. Like, you got a problem with your cat? Ask and they'll answer. This is the kind of community we need. And then keep giving. Know that your knowledge, your life has given you knowledge. Our society may not have convinced you yet because it wasn't built for that. The new community will be. But the old community told you that if you didn't go to school and get a PhD and make six figures and do all that stuff, that somehow what you know is not important. Excuse me. I don't know squat about fixing my car. If you do, and you don't know how to do a specific, let's say you don't know how to do software programs. I do. Guess what we can trade? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Have a good night. Lots of love to you. See you soon.